probably guessed I'm a good friend of Nate's. And I'm going to go ahead and start off tonight's toast the same way I've started off every single toast of my life, and that's with a pre-toast. And you guys can think of a pre-toast like the first warm beam of dawn right before an epic sunrise. It's to prepare your mind and your body for the radiant magnitude of the toast to come. So, and I've been waiting to do this pre-toast forever. Tonight's pre-toast is for Ron and Sharon Hadley. You guys have raised such an incredible son in Nate. And what's more, you've taken me into your house, and throughout my young adult life, all the way up till now, you've shown me a love and dedication that I neither asked for nor deserved. And you have touched so many lives in this room tonight, and I'm convinced that neither one of you get the credit you deserve on a regular basis. So what I want to do is, if Ron and Sharon Hadley have in any way positively influenced your life, I want you to stand up tonight and just go ahead and look at it. Go ahead, stand up, stand up. And I just want you to give a round of applause. Let's host for that. That was just the pre-toast. All right. On to the main course. Let's light it up. All right, so I originally met Nate, like pretty much all my friends here tonight, at college, and I had seen him in a few classes here and there, but I didn't really get to know Nate until it was time to pick our house that we were going to live in our junior year. And I don't know who has tried to design an optimal college house in this room, but it's a lot more complex than MTV makes it look. You've really got to get a perfect balance of personalities, or you are flirting with utter disaster one way or another. So I meet with the council of dudes I'm getting ready to live with, and we start checking off the list. First of all, you need the father figure and moral compass. Boom, tuck, got it. Then you need the Abercrombie model who might one day be president. Ben Barrett, got it. You need the mischievous yet brilliant nerd, that's me. And you also need, since you're at a liberal arts college, you need to double down on your artistic activist hippies. That's Big Mike Tyson. It's like, oh yeah, that's because he's knocked so many people unconscious as linebacker on the football team that they've started to call him Nasty Nate. And I said, perfect. Like many people in the room, I'm a scientist and I need evidence first rather than anything else. Justin, cue Exhibit A. Alright, so what we have here is a basic Homo sapien calf. It's pretty standard. Notice the lack of contoured outlines for the medial and lateral head and the rather flaccid appearance of the muscle. This was Jeremy's calf. Move to Exhibit B. This is species Homo habilis. And I think we can all see that there's a pretty mythological, almost Herculean difference in terms of the muscle composition between Homo habilis and Jeremy's Homo sapien. So I collect the data, I'm like, all right, this guy's gonna work out, let's do it. Fast forward 5 months, we're starting to move in the house, and I'm like, all right, it's time to investigate the scene. Who do I really have here at the dog pen? So I roll over to the room, I open the door, and I'm expecting, I've started to build this up in my mind. I'm expecting to see a mace, maybe some bones and raw meat on the floor. I'm just like, all right, who's this enforcer that I've just pulled in? And I come in and I see Nate, and he looks like probably the closest thing is a 1950s Princeton professor. He's reading Hemingway. And he kind of looks over in that quizzical gaze where you can tell he's lost in some deep philosophical train of thought. He says, oh, hello, how is your day going? And it was from that point forward that kind of the superficial image of Nate that I had painted started to fade away. And what took its place was perhaps one of the most courageous, well-rounded, intelligent, and honorable men that I've ever had the pleasure to know. And so, what really got me about Nate as I got to know him over the last 2 years was his purity of heart. Specifically, Nate gets a face when he talks about three things. He talks about his family, he talks about his friends, or his faith. And you see this face, and it is so full of joy that you know that there's no social facade. He's not pretending for anybody. The guy you meet at that moment is the same guy you would meet if you were the President of the United States. And I love that about Nate. And so when I heard that he had met a girl, and I said, yeah, dude, you gotta come meet this girl. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna be looking for the face. And I get there, and the same face that I see when Nate talks about his faith, his family, and his friends, the things that fill him with the most absolute joy in his life. I'm going out for the first time to breakfast with Nate and Kristen, and I see the face. And I knew at that moment, I was like, this is it. This is it. And you don't know, Kristen, I love Nate like a brother, as does everyone in that house. And to have you give him that gift of that joy, to add that to his life, is pretty much all I can ask for as a friend. So tonight I want you to raise your glasses, everyone, to Nate and Kristen, a long and happy life together, and specifically to Kristen for giving Nate an absolute gift that's going to sustain you for the rest of your life.